did King David and King Solomon's clothes look like? Have you ever thought about it? Well, guess what? Now we have clues. An exciting new discovery from the Timna Valley excavation of what is believed to have been King Solomon's legendary copper mines gives us more than a tangible clue. Joining us now is Professor Dr. Erez Ben Yosef from Tel Aviv University with more on the color purple. Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, welcome.
So this is very exciting. I know you've devoted many years to Timna and research, but a huge discovery to find 3 pieces of textile with the mythological color purple that we've been talking about. What does it mean to actually find this with your own eyes?
Well, it was very exciting to find these purple textiles, but the real excitement was when we got the results from the lab. So Dr. Naama Sukenik ran the experiment, and one day she called me and said, the molecules are true purple. It's really the real true purple. And we couldn't believe it at first, and we did the experiment again, and it was confirmed that this is the oldest evidence of true purple that we have in Israel, or in general in the southern Levant, and the only example of this color from the period of the biblical kings of David and Solomon.
Wow.
So it's really a window into the fashion of the elite, of the kings of that time period. So this was really exciting. And then we worked on the academic publication, which was published a few days ago. And this is really...
this is really just the beginning of, I'm sure, discovering, more layers of this. I mean, so we know from the biblical account we hear about this. So, to be able to physically, have the technology to match this evidence is really incredible, especially for you. I know you've studied, the Iron Age a lot and the technological, prowess of that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the color purple is important in the Bible. It is the color of the kings of Midian. It's the color of the high priests in the temple in Jerusalem. It was used also in the tabernacle. And it's important because archaeologists and biblical scholars argue about the historicity of the text, how much it is a depiction of the reality of the period, or how much of it is a later mythological invention by the ancient authors. And we have here a physical real confirmation that this color, this dye was in use in a very early period, the 11th and 10th centuries BCE, which corresponds to both the kings of Midian in the south and the kings in Jerusalem of the United Monarchy. So it really helps with the discussion about the reality of the period and the historicity of the stories in the Bible.
Right. Now, I know you spent a lot of time studying, this is where the famed copper mines of King Solomon are said to be, in this area of Timna. So, it's also called Tyrian purple. And I know this has a lot to do with, right, King Tyre who, worked with, King Solomon in building the temple as well. So does this also add evidence to these relations between these two countries?
Possibly, but this is really true. The purple was produced in the Mediterranean coast. The snails, it was produced from sea snails that had these color glands within them. And they are indigenous to the Mediterranean Sea. They are not found in the Red Sea. So it had to come all the way, hundreds of kilometers away from the north or the northwest to Timna. Timna is near the city of Eilat. It's very far away from Jerusalem. And we also know from archaeology that the main production centers of this expensive color were in the coast of Lebanon of today, and also in the region of Haifa. And the most important production center was in Tyre. So maybe the colored fibers that we find in Timna came all the way from Phoenicia, from the coast of Lebanon, and maybe through the middleman of ancient Israel, it was exactly on the way between Timna and Lebanon, if you want. So we start to see more and more evidence for the connections in this time period that were kind of long distance connection between different kingdoms in different regions.
Do we know about kind of the technology that was used to take these dyes and actually to, make clothing? Like, how did they do it back then?
So I work with experts on these ancient dyeing technologies, Dr. Namasu Kenik and Professor Zohar Amar, who devoted their career in studying how these ancient colors were produced. I just know that this was a long process. It took many days, and it it is related to how they produced the solution out of these glands of these sea snails. And the sophistication was also related to the exposure to light. They could have controlled the use, the exact shade of the color by the amount of exposure to light. And if it was exposed for a longer period of time, we got this bright blue color, or the tchelet in Hebrew. So tchelet and argaman is the purple, and tchelet is azure or bright blue. They are very much related, and both of them are very important in the Jewish tradition. The tchelet is the color that we have on the flag of Israel. It was made by the same technology with a little bit different
and the same snail, so it's believed that the two colors came from the same species.
Same snail species, a bit different exposure to light, and a mixture. It's three different species that they knew how to combine the different species to create the beautiful colors. And actually, we found in Timna that one of the fragments was made by two different species, not only one. And this is also another complication, or another advancement of the technology, which made the color stronger and more resistant. We hear about that in historical sources, and Pliny the Elder, the Roman historian, is telling us about this double dyeing technology. And we found that one of the fragments was dyed with this technology.
Wow. Do these snails still, one question, do these snails still exist?
Yes,
I'm at the beach all the time. I don't see them off the coast. I know we're not, up near Lebanon, but...
They are rare. They are rare. In certain cases, locations in the Mediterranean, they are still being hunted. And I know that a certain species is eaten today by the Italians. And actually, Professor Amar went to Italy to...
Not escargot.
Today, they eat them. And actually, my colleague, Professor Amar, went all the way to Italy to get these snails in order to do experimental dyeing. So actually part of the research was to create this dye by today, and to compare the analytical results of modern dyeing experiments to the ancient to the ancient textiles. And this is how we knew which species were used in the textiles of Timna. I just want to mention that it was a big surprise to find it in Timna, mostly because we're talking about nomadic society. The people in Timna, which we believe were the ancient Edomites, the kingdom of Edom, were nomads still. And today, usually we think about nomads as Bedouins, a simple society without kings, without a significant social hierarchy. But this find and other observations from the south, I think, necessitate a revision in the way we think about nomads of the biblical time. And this is important because also the tribes of Israel were nomads.
Wow, it is so fascinating. I wish we had more time, but very exciting to say the least. Thank you so much for this very interesting conversation. And I love purple. Who doesn't like purple?
Yeah, me too.